Hello guys, today I'm going to be teaching you how to create your own chime and also that can act as a flower, vase or planter. Stay tuned to learn more. Today we are going to be creating a wind chime, and I'm going to start by mentioning that for you to create a wind chime you need several important things to make the wind chime happen. So normally you have to have the top part, which is a cylinder or a circular piece of wood. But in this case, we're going to use a cylinder, which is an upcycled milk ladle. Okay, so we're going to attach our chimes around there. The second thing that is very important is the center heater. The center heater is a piece of wood that knocks your chimes around, and most importantly you're going to need the bottom circle, which is really catches the wind and it's blown, and then it pushes the center heater, and the center heater knocks on the chimes. For the chimes today we are going to be using aluminium rods that are derived from television antennas. As you can see, this one is a damaged one, and they come in several sizes in terms of the circumference, the cross-sectional circumference, and also length. Other materials that we are going to be using are our three main tools, which is the pliers, the side cutter, and the round nose pliers. We're going to be using a brass chain. This is to ensure that your wind chime does not rust when it's put outside against the elements. Also, another important thing to note is that you need a strong fishing line. Remember, the fishing line has to be as slender as possible so that your chime will move easily as it's blown by wind. Further, we are going to use a marker or a Sharpie to mark where we are going to be drilling. Okay, and also we are going to be using brass wire. Let me also mention that the bottom circle is made from a tin. Your ordinary tin, I use recycled cans like this. This is a varnish can. So you just open it up and then you cut a round circle, and you can install it as it is, or you can apply a paint coat like this, which preferably is better to use an oil paint. Okay, let's begin now. So to begin with, you're going to take your top part. This time we're using, as I said, the milk ladle, and the idea is that with that piece as a center heater, you're just going to place it at the bottom. Then you're going to take one of the chimes that you're going to be using. Then just gauge where it will be. Don't place it too close to the center heater, and don't also place it very far. Otherwise, this piece will find difficulty in reaching your chime, hence it will not function optimally. So to do that, we are going to take our tape measure out the circumference around, and that's at 36 centimeters. Then what I normally do is that I space them out in 3 centimeters. So I'm going to place a spot there and there. Then I'm going to repeat all round. You can go ahead and count how many pieces of chimes you'll need. So we're going to need 12 chimes. So let's start by drilling through those holes. Then the next step, now we're going to mark a spot at the center where we are going to attach our center heater. Remember, the center heater, I have gotten it from wood using a hole saw. So check out my previous video in order to know how you can cut out pieces of round wooden circles. I'll also place the link in the description down below so that you can find an easy access. So I'm just going to place, rather estimate where the center will be. If you're not sure, make sure you just take your geometrical instruments and find the center of the piece. Then we're going to go ahead and drill it. Okay, so once we have that, then we are going to select our 12 chimes and cut them to size, and also drill the holes where the fishing line will attach to. If you can, make use of the same sized chimes. This helps in maintaining the same consistent sound around your chimes. So in this case, I prefer to use the big ones. I hope I have enough. As you can see, there are different sizes. This one is, let me use the one that has a hole. You can see this is bigger than that. Yeah. So this one, I believe, makes a better sound and also sharp. The small one makes a sharper sound, and right now I'm looking for this sound, and once I've cut them and I start tuning them, you'll hear the sound that I'm talking about. Remember, if there is anything in the piping, that will affect the quality of the sound. That's why even I recommend that don't paint over your chimes. If they are rusted, let them, just install them as they are, because that preserves that good sound. Okay, so I'm going to do the same to all of this. Remove any bits of pieces that might be inside. Finally, you're going to just give them a wipe down. And just in case you don't have equal sized chimes, remember you can use anything you have. You can even use old spoons, old pieces of metal. Just feel free, okay? But this is just a basis. This is the basic way that you create a chime. So again, these are pieces that are upcycled, so they don't come in a certain shape or length. So you're going to first to start by arranging them in order in terms of the height, from the highest to from the longest to the shortest. Okay, that will help our Okay, once you've done that, just flatten the top part so that they are in line. Okay, so the idea is that as you line them, you should not put equal sized pieces, because you want a different sound. If, for instance, these two pieces are of the same length, so they will make the same sound, and you want a different sound, a different pitch every time it's hit. Okay, so for the first two, our job has been done, because this is the longest, then the shortest, then it goes like that. So now we are going to let's just count up to 12, because the number of pieces we need: 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12. So let's get rid of those for now and work with this. So what you're going to do is that you're going to mark just a small bit, just a small length. Just go on subtracting a small bit of the length, so that you ensure that the other piece is shorter than the previous piece. Okay, so since the top three are okay, so we're going to go ahead and mark that. Go ahead and mark that. According to your markings, I'm going to go ahead and cut that. Then open it up. Remember, you can use a hacksaw to do this, whichever way you see it's easiest. Mark the spots where we are going to drill. So go ahead and drill and mark all those pieces. go ahead and drill. You'll notice that the pieces that you've drilled, they have very sharp edges, so you're going to just run your file. Now we are going to bring in our fishing line. I have some pieces that are pre-cut. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to show you that the length determines the sound of the chime. Considering that these pieces are the same material and the same cross-sectional diameter, so to tune them or to hear how they sound, just string one of them, and then you take a piece of metal like a screwdriver and just hit. Okay, we're going to take the next one, and you're going to hear that it sounds a little bit differently. You can hear that has a sharper sound than the longest one. The shortest one, same thing with your piece of metal. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to take some small beads. These are Masai beads, so we're going to need just one for each strand. So starting from the big one, just bring the fishing line together, and then about 1 inch from the chime, just do a knot once, do another knot twice, second time, and the third time, like that. Then you're going to take one bead, then you're going to string it in like that. So that chime is ready to go. Okay, so once you've done that, just continue arranging them as they follow each other. Then I'm going to do the same to the rest of the chimes. So just put those away for now. We're going to come back to them later. Now we're going to prepare where we're going to attach the chimes. We're going to need brass wire. This is size 22 hard. So go ahead and cut 10 centimeters length of the wire. Go ahead and do a loop at the top, like that. Take your flat pliers and then complete the loop by locking it. Then we're going to be using glass beads. Remember in this exercise to use items that will not downgrade easily when they are put outside. So we have a small glass bead and a bigger one. So you start with a small one, and then through your piece and through the holes that we had drilled, just put one through, and then insert your bigger glass bead like that. And then now we're going to do another loop. We're going to do another loop right there. And you're going to go ahead and lock it. Go ahead and cut off the excess wire and tighten that bead so that it stays firm. So that's how the first bit will look like. So that's where we'll attach our chimes. Okay, so I'm going to repeat the same with all the others. Okay, once you've done that, you see all pieces are installed. So Now we are going to drill a hole. In installing, you're going to use a thicker piece of brass like this, 2 inches from that end. Like that. Then you're going to lock it in. Okay. Then trim that part. Tuck that in. Then you're now going to insert it through the back side. Then we're going to do a loop at the top so that we find a place to attach the hook that we are later going to create. Then now we are going to create a hook. Create a loop right at the end, at the tail end of your wire. Like that. See? Then about 1 inch from that loop, create another loop in the opposite direction. Like that. So that you have something that looks like a question hook but not yet. So to make it complete, we are going to trim that wire right about that spot. Like that. We're going to file down that rough surface. Then now in attaching our hook, just open your loop and go ahead and attach it on the other loop that we created, and then close the loop. And now you have somewhere where you can hang. Okay, take your brass wire, take your round nose pliers, do a loop, and then we are going to close that loop. Okay, yes, and then go ahead and place a small bead, and then that wire goes in through the middle hole inside and comes off from this other end. Okay, go ahead and place a bigger bead, and now we are going to do a loop right at that spot, like so, and that's where we are going to attach our chain. We're going to insert that link chain through there, and then we are going to close that loop so that the chain does not come off, and so that we ensure our wind chime has more than one usability. Then we are going to use it also as a flower pot, because we are not going to waste all that space. Okay, so we're going to drill some holes so that our flower has enough drainage. So let's do several holes down here. We have a hook where we can now hang it. We have the spots where we are going to attach our chimes. We have the center chain that will attach to the center heater, and finally the bottom circle. So now we are going to find a spot to hang it so that we can start attaching our chimes. This is the fun part. So as you can see already, I have suspended the chime that we are creating. So find a spot where you can hang it, preferably work standing, it's the best. It goes through the bead, and then you tie a knot. Then you tie another knot. Then again tie the third knot. maybe even the fourth. Just just be sure that you have it tight so that it doesn't loosen or fall off at one point or another. And then in this case, we're going to be using our scissors and you're going to trim that end. So take the next one. I'm going to repeat that process for clarity. Then now you're going to just arrange them according to the size. So if you start with the biggest and you're going clockwise, the smallest will be right at that end. And as you hang them, you'll also listen to them hitting each other and creating a chime. So again, put your fishing line through that loop, and then you put your fishing line through that small bead. These are Maasai beads. You can make use of any type of small beads. Okay. And then do your several knots just to fasten it and make sure that it doesn't come off. Remember, when you're creating a chime for yourself or for your client, you have to think about the durability. You don't want to sell a chime that the client will start complaining after 1 month. I have sold chimes that when I visit my clients' places, I see them 5 years on, and it's the diligence you put in your work. So now I'm just going to do the rest, and I'm going to come back when we're going to be placing our center heater. So what you do is that just be in the lookout for the longest chime, and place it together with the chime, with the chain, and then just cut below, immediately below that one. Okay, so cut that one off. Okay, then now we are going to attach our center heater. Remember, if you're using wood, just make sure to polish the edges so that it really gives it a subtle sound, not sharp, but a very calming sound like that. Okay, so let me look for some wire, specific type of wire that we're going to be using. I think this is it. Once you have your wire, you're going to be using this kind. Just do a loop, a small loop right at the end, like so. Then you're going to insert that wire through the last link chain of that chain. Then we are going to close off that loop. Make sure you close it off strongly. And also make sure that you don't leave any sharp edges, sharp points on that piece. Okay, so we're now going to be using the big beads like that, and then insert your bead and your wire on that end. Then now you're going to hold on to the bottom part. Then this is the second part where you need to pay attention, because now you're going to insert your center heater right at the middle like that. Then now you don't place it very low, because it will just end up hitting a few wires, a few tubes. The idea is that you need to place it at a spot where it needs to be hitting all the tubes. Also, don't place it very high up your chime, otherwise it will not be as effective. So what I normally do is that I look out for the shortest tube, and then I just place it in line with the bottom part of that smallest shortest tube. So in this case it will be around that place. So let me just show you. It will be around there. So you just need to estimate and see where your chain will attach, and we're going to cut off our chain right where the center heater will rest, okay? And cut off that part. So go ahead and take another bead, place it on top. Now we're going to do another small loop right at the top, of that, and make sure you make it as tight as possible. Okay, and then now we're going to take that wire and insert it in the last link chain, and then we're going to close off that loop, making sure that it holds our center heater tightly in place. We are going to add our bottom circle, which to me is the most important part, because without it the chime cannot sing as loudly as it should be. So with this one I had already installed a wire, so we're just going to do a loop right at the top like that. Then we're going to attach that around at the bottom. So let's see. Because now you see, because of the center heat, because of the thickness of the center heater, that length has been displaced down, so our chain has become a little bit longer. So we're going to trim it a little bit, because you want the right balance in the distance between the top, the center heater, the center heater, and the center heater and the bottom circle. So now we are going to insert this like that, and we are going to lock that in place. Then just make sure you've balanced that out. Then now once you've placed it, or once you put it in the wind, you'll notice that your chime actually chimes. I'm just going to adjust my camera just to see, just so that you can see what we've created. So there we go, from the top to bottom. Okay, if you're going to be using a ladle as me, so what you're going to do after you've put your soil and your flower or your plant, the piece might tilt a little bit, but no worries. You can adjust that by bending this over to that end so that it balances out the weight. But there we have it. So that's how you create a simple wind chime. Okay guys, my hope is that you enjoyed watching this video and just listening to the chimes. Didn't I do a great job? So my hope is that you will try out creating your own chime using your own materials. It can be old spoons, it can be old pieces of metal, it can be, like me, pieces of aluminium gotten from TV antennas. And please share your thoughts on how you would like to create your own, or if you create your own, please share with me. If you've not subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing and hitting the bell icon to get notified. And thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye bye.